Origen's my best friend, so I figured we should go look at what he says about Ezekiel. It's very long. So this is the first homily. Not every captive undergoes captivity because of sin, although it was because of sin that most of the people were abandoned by God, and as they underwent captivity, were seized by Nebuchadnezzar, cast out of the Holy Land, and taken all the way to Babylonia. Nevertheless, the few righteous ones who were among the people did not undergo captivity because of their own fault, but for this reason, so that the sinners who had been oppressed by the yoke of captivity should not completely be deprived of relief. Indeed, let us suppose that when the sinners had been taken away to Babylonia, the righteous settled back in their old territory. The result would be, this is hypothetically, the result would be that the sinners would never obtain healing. Therefore, God, who is forbearing and generous and loving toward the human race, determined the temper with kind visitation, the penalties whereby he punishes sinners, and not to crush the miserable with extreme punishment. God is ever thus. He inflicts pain on those who do harm, but like a benevolent father includes mercy together with the torments. So this is like what was probably pretty appealing. This guy's writing out of the Egyptian area, first of all. Like I said before, this is my best friend Hermes. Like him and I have spent a lot of time talking about the Bible. Like you can see a symbol behind. Here is St. Luke painting the Virgin, and once again, the Nazar's in the background. I feel like what happened is I painted St. Luke a lot, which is Hermes, and he painted the Virgin because he was a better painter than me, and she didn't want to look ugly. This is what Hermes actually looks like when he's young. I found this by looking for Luke during the Renaissance. If you didn't know, I'm a clone of Moses. That's why I have horns. The horns are kind of my symbol. So if you look up St. Luke painting the Virgin, there will always be horns. Well, there will be a cow sitting next to him. So St. Luke has to talk to the Egyptians, and he's going, moreover, if you wish to recognize that what I say is true, consider what happened in Egypt because of the famine. If God had only wished to kill the Egyptians and to punish them by tormenting them with a 7-year famine, he would have done exactly what he wished, and neither would Joseph have gone down into Egypt, nor would Pharaoh have seen the dream about what was going to happen to Egypt, nor would the chief cupbearer have disclosed to the king that there was a man confined in prison who could interpret the dream for the king. In fact, as you perceive, God scourges like a father, but he spares not only Israel, but also the Egyptians, even though they are foreign to him because of his own gentleness. So clearly, St. Luke, who is coming back as Origen, the origin of the Christian religion, which is something you will never hear about in the Christian church. I read like a huge book on Christian religion. So like when I hear the word Origen and I hear the word Clement, I hear the same word, but I know Origen's the one that they will never stop talking about. So Joseph is the guy that I was talking about who got sold into slavery by his brothers because he was the shit. All right, so this is where our philosophy gets very confusing, very quick in Ezekiel, crazy. It's Origen's commentary on Ezekiel. So let's hear. Right here it says, we're to say, Master, do not rebuke me in your anger and do not reprove me in your fury. All things that are of God are good, and we deserve to be reproved. Listen to what he says. I will rebuke them in the hearing of their distress. We hear those things that have to do with the tribulation for this reason, so that we may be improved. So he's trying to figure out like why he has to listen to like the book of Ezekiel, and who has like started like freaking out, like crying because of the book of Ezekiel. I think that I've been there once. It was bad because the freaking Holy Spirit actually can get you. If you have the real Holy Spirit, you have no idea. It's your nightmare. So he's seeing everything as who Hermes is, which is a doctor. He says, also in the curses of Leviticus, it is written, if after this they do not obey and do not return to me, I will apply 7 afflictions to them for their sin. If, however, after this they do not return, I will improve them. All the things of God which seem to be bitter to contribute toward education and remedies. God is a doctor, God is a father, he is a master, and not a harsh one, but a gentle master, which, like, he's using the same Greek words that they're using for master, when they're talking about rabbi, actually, like a teacher, I think. But like this translation specifically is from St. Jerome, which was from Latin, because there's no surviving translation of his commentary on Ezekiel. All right, let's see what this says in 4. If you come to, i.e., if you want to think about those who have been punished according to the words of the scriptures, then combine scriptures with scriptures as the apostle teaches, and you will see that Where the most bitter things are thought to be, the sweetest things are there. It is written in the prophet, he does not take vengeance in his judgment twice in the very same matter in the prophecy. So I didn't know that. Which makes sense because of the flood. All right, let's go continue reading. He took vengeance once in the judgment through the flood. He took vengeance once in the judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah. He took vengeance once in his judgment on Egypt and on 600,000 Israelites. Do not think that this vengeance on the sinners was only punishment, as if after death and earthly punishments they are to be met again by punishment. They were punished in the present so that they might not be punished perpetually in the future. Look at the poor man in the gospel. He is crushed by squalor and want and All right, so I can't. It doesn't seem to continue with what my screenshots. The reason I wanted to see Origen's commentary on Ezekiel is because I've never been able to read Ezekiel ever, and the only thing I really got from Ezekiel is like, you better care about the freaking poor. This was the guilt of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters had arrogance, abundant food, and careless ease, but she did not help the poor and needy. And all I'm saying is that's Abram's best friends, they got wiped out. Abram's the father of the Jewish religion. Like when like there's this covenant, and the covenant is about circumcision, like specifically, and for some reason he takes Ishmael. Isaac means laughter, and Ishmael's the 13-year-old that's getting circumcised. But I think I've always like shown people that passion. I'm like, he's 99 years old, running around cutting off everyone's dick to get my 99-year-old dad to try to cut off my dick. But that was the actual covenant. It was like, it all started with the circumcision. In the last video, I didn't get to finish this, but it's a quote from Origen, and he says, but the wisdom of God, which is his only begotten son. So this is the wisdom. This isn't the logos. This is like something that like, he clearly is saying like does not change. Like it's not like transcendent. It is like, you can know it. But the wisdom of God, which is his only begotten Son, being in all respects incapable of change or alteration, and every good quality in him being essential, and such as cannot be changed and converted, his glory is therefore declared to be pure and sincere. I don't know which word he's using for glory there. Like I don't know. What I do know is that like when you're trying to understand religion, like you have to know Isus that much, and like you have to know one thing about that guy, like. He is not okay with you saying that someone is demon-possessed, probably ever. Like, that's what it strikes me as. Like, this guy's living 2,000 years ago, and he's that against people saying that people are demon-possessed. Like, he is that against a lot of these teachings. And I think that if you, like, really grasp him in John and you see the way he is, where he's, like, strategic and he's, like, patient and he's quiet and he is not, like, in your face unless he makes a decision, like, 2 years later, I'm coming back and I'm going to say this, like he is that kind of way. And so like the wisdom of like what it's like to be like Jesus, because like what would Jesus do is the movement, right? Like what would it be like? What's it like to be like Gandhi almost is what it is to be like Jesus. Because like why is Martin Luther King Jr. like that? He's read the book of John too much. Why is Gandhi like that? He's read the book of John too much. And why is Origen like that? Because he can put up with the religion. He can put up with Clement better than me, probably. Like, but also, like, I'm not allowed to teach the church. You get Luke. But all I'm saying is, like, the story of Isus, like, especially, like, the sentiment of it, like, can influence your ability to interpret the rest of the Bible. I mean, clearly right here, Paul knows that, like, if you got the Holy Spirit, no one can say Jesus is Lord except by the Holy Spirit. Yeah, the guy that's robbing everyone. No one questions Paul. We can't question Paul. It's perfect. This dude knew I had to, and that's how I got here. Because I knew there was something in there, and somehow I had to figure out how to stay in it because I went too far to get out. And I think we don't have to get out because like we can decide that like the Bible's not perfect, but I'm here to clarify things for you.